when is going to be a good moment for Hailey to just kind of like speak her truth. And you've done it a couple times on the internet, which I think people were like, oh, fuck yes. Like, Hailey, let's go, which we're going to get into.
Well, I think based on what you're saying, like one of the, I think, issues with that is that then you get stuck having to explain yourself for every little thing. And I had to get over that because I was in a place at one point where I felt like I wanted to like explain the narrative and explain myself, and like that's also exhausting. So if it's like every single time I do an interview or if I say something and there's going to be something that people are like, why would she say that? Or like, she's wrong for saying that, or that doesn't make sense. You said marriage is hard work. And then I said that and everybody was like, that's not a good sign if you think that it's like hard. Like, it's like no matter what I say, I'm always going to have to be explaining myself to people, which is why I actually hate doing interviews where they're like, it's like a blurb of a longer thing that I said that's just so out of context. And then I'm going to feel like I'm explaining myself.
What marriage doesn't have ups and downs, and in a good way, you get
but
through
also
shit.
What I meant when I said hard work is just like there's compromise, there's sacrifice. I feel that way in most relationships in my life, even friendships, even work relationships. Like they can be tough sometimes, and then you get into a cycle of like, again, feeling the need to explain yourself. And for me, it's not even about explaining myself, it's about people knowing the truth, because there's a truth. There is actually the truth of something that happened, and there's the truth of what didn't happen. So I think for me, when people, make up stories about me online, I'm just like, but that's not what happened. That's not the truth.
Is the crux of it the homewrecker thing? Like, is that what really bothers you?
I think there's a lot of timing and timeline stuff that, like, just wasn't true. And that's also just the internet making up their stories and, like, taking little bits and pieces of something they're looking at from the outside. And and by the way, it's so many different things. The internet can make up, they can literally sit here and say that I threw up on you.
And which she did.
But that's not,
okay?
and you can sit there and say, Hailey threw up on me, it was really crazy. And then I would read that on TMZ and I'd be like, that did not happen. Do you know what I'm saying? There's just stuff that happens all the time that I'm like, hello?
Can you explain what happened when you were taking photos on the red carpet with your husband at the Met Gala in 2021?
Oh, and people were screaming? Mm-hmm. So, yes, I could hear everyone screaming. And again, I think there's a certain part of you that has a numbness of just like, I was like really surprised. I could kind of hear it, but I didn't know if that's what was really going on until I saw the video after. The whole thing of everybody being like, oh, he's trying to tell her not to cry. That was not true. It wasn't making me cry. Although it's a very disrespectful thing to do towards anybody, I felt like I had something in my eye. That's just what goes to show you how out of context things can be seen. When he's like trying to help me, I'm like, I feel like there's something in my eye. Do you see something in my eye? And I'm going like this. And he's like, no, you're good.
And as this is happening, everyone's chanting. I don't even know if it was their relationship name or just her name.
They were chanting at you. Both.
So then you take the sunglasses.
Yeah.
And
the sunglasses were just part of my look. They were just part of my look. I knew I was going to wear the sunglasses regardless on the carpet for some photos and then some without. But yeah, I did hear people yelling. It wasn't making me almost cry. I think seeing the video back after made me like, damn, like that sucks. That's the energy people are like putting out into like that you would even spend your time
camping out,
standing outside and doing that. I just felt like it was disrespectful to me, to my relationship. It just was, period, the end. But I think I've endured so much disrespect, and I still do to this day, that there was like a part of me that was just like, another day, another negative sleigh.
It's like so depressing.
I know.
See, that's like a very public example, I feel like, of you having to go through that. Is there anything that comes to mind that was supposed to be a happy moment for you and Justin, whatever, and it was ruined by harassment or bullying or this concept of his past?
They've never ruined anything for me. They're not ruining my life. They're not ruining my happiness. And that, I think, is really the win of the whole thing. You're actually not taking anything away from me. So that's what I just keep stepping forward with. It's like, you can't take this away from me. You cannot take away my happiness, my relationship, my business, my career. Like, you can't. You can try and you can be mad about it, but it doesn't change anything, is my point.
Hailey, what do you think the internet wants you to do?
I don't know. I legit don't know.
Like, if you were trying to get under it, like,
I'm like, sometimes I joke around, I'm like, would they be happy if I like just moved away and like locked myself in a house and just like, I don't know. I don't know what the goal is.
Right.
That's what's so funny is I'm just like, I don't try to understand like what is the goal.
I think I would say it's
a lot of the time it's I think it's attention. I think a lot of people sometimes they do things and they say things in hopes to get a response out of you and to get a rise. And I've seen it happen with a lot of other people too. Like, you're ugly, and then like you respond and you're like, I wish you the best. Like, I'm sorry you feel that way. And they're like, oh my God, Queen, I'm sorry. I actually love you. I was just being silly.
You're like, that wasn't
funny.
That wasn't funny at all. Calling me ugly, like, I guess it is kind of funny because look at you, so fuck off.
No, it's just like,
no,
what was your point? So then the point is like they get the attention that they thought. I think a lot of people think you'll not respond. Mm-hmm. And I've had that happen before too. That I didn't think you would see it. I'm sorry. And I'm like, so why are you saying it? Are you just bored? Like, I don't know.
Can you try to explain what does it feel like to have millions of people against your relationship? Like, what does that feel like on a day-to-day basis to you?
I guess the biggest thing is like, I think it's sad. I think it's sad to be against someone's happiness. I think it's sad to not wish somebody well. Who am I supposed to be that would be acceptable? And then that means that I'm living for other people. And that means that I'm being a people pleaser, which I struggle with a lot. I do want people to like me. It does bother me when people just don't like me simply because of the rumors they've heard or the ideas they've come up with or things that they've seen. Like, it makes me sad. But I think I've had to come to the point and the realization of like, there is no way that you exist as a person, especially not as a person with a platform or in the public eye, where everybody loves you. And that's even in life in general. Even if I was just in a normal situation, not everybody's going to like you. I'm just existing in front of a lot of people. Yeah. So it's very easy to make decisions about how you feel about someone. Yeah. Especially when there's so much access to look at them and see what they're doing, and there's social media and there's photos and there's just like life. So I don't know. I think that sometimes it feels really heavy.